Today is June 5th, 2024. We are interviewing Esther Rosenduft. My name is Esther Finder. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the language will be English. Thank you for speaking with us today. How are you feeling today? You okay?
Beautiful weather, but it's a little bit, just to bring up memories.
Can you tell me, what is your name?
Ester Rosenduft now.
Could you spell that? Could you spell
Rosenduft. That's now. Before
I'll
I got
ask
married,
what was your name at birth?
Abramovich.
Could you spell that for me, please?
No. A.B. Abramovich. Because I didn't use it a long time.
It's in the paperwork. It's okay. Where were you born?
8831.
8831. That was when you were born. Where were you born?
In Romania.
Where in Romania?
In USC. My mother said, no more giving birth at home. So she went to USC. She was from USC originally, before she got married. My father was from Rosenduft. She was from USC. So when it came time to give birth, she went to USC to give birth.
How old are you now?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I can tell you the year I was born, 8831.
It's okay.
But I don't count how old I am.
Fair enough. What was your father's name?
Mordechai. Mordechai, that was in, but I forgot in Romania. Marcus.
Mordechai was his Hebrew name?
Yeah.
That's fine. What do you know about his family?
My father's family? My father's...
Yeah, please don't touch the microphone. I asked you, what do you know about your father's family?
Well, I know he comes from Rosenduft, and this way we try to make a living, because all his sisters and brothers, they had stores. All the Jewish had stores.
Do you know what kind of store he had?
Supermarket. But see, supermarket that time is not like now. You had one place where you came in with a barrel of paint. The other two doors was the carousel. How you call it? To lighten up.
Kerosene?
Yeah. But it comes in barrels. The first barrel was, how you call it? I forgot. Herring. That was when you come in. It was a barrel with herring. Then there was paint. Then there was the carousel. I don't know.
What was your mother's name?
Betty.
What do you know about her family?
Well, her family, they're all from the big city. USC.
What work did she do? What work did your mother do?
In the store.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
One brother.
Older or younger?
Older. I think we were like maybe 6 years apart.
What are some of your very earliest memories from childhood?
It's the store. The love of my parents came Sunday. I went with my father to the market. And after the market, I went to the church. And I was waiting outside the church because they used to come out and start dancing. So I like that.
What religious traditions did your family observe?
Jewish.
What kinds of things? Did you have a kosher home?
Well, when you were, this what you buy. You grew up, and my parents, that's the way they grew up. It was kosher.
Did you have a favorite holiday?
I don't remember. I remember the temples were gorgeous. We had 5 temples. Beautiful, beautiful. But I used to go to the temple and wait till my father finished. We went home together. The store was closed Saturday and Sunday. Sunday was my favorite day too, because like I said, I used to go to the shuk, outdoor shuk. You know, the farmers came, put out on the floor and all that.
Shuk is a market.
Yeah, but it was outdoor and in the floor. And I used to go with my father in the morning. And then I went to the church. They should come out to dancing.
What can you tell us about the relationship between the Jewish community in your town and the non-Jewish community in your town? How did people get along?
I don't know. I was too young to.
Do you remember any anti-Semitism from your childhood?
When we were evacuated from the house, from the store, there were no Jewish people left there in Retukanen.
Was this during the war?
Before, no Jewish people were left there.
Tell me what happened. This was before the war?
Well, when it started, the anti-Semitism, I don't know if it started before the war. Through the war, I was too young to. But we were evacuated. There was no Jewish family left. I think there was one girl, but she had a boyfriend. He wasn't Jewish. But all the Jewish people were evacuated.
Do you remember hearing anything about Hitler and the Nazis before the war? Did your parents ever talk about them?
I don't remember. My mind is.
Okay. Before we go more into the war, is there anything else about your life before the war that you would like to tell us about? Do you remember starting school? Anything like that?
Well, I went to Hayter, not school. I went kindergarten. I remember it was the stage. And then there was the Hayter. But that's very foggy. I don't. So it was 2 places I went. What was it? That was before school, kindergarten. Yeah, keep on forgetting.
It's okay. In 1940, Romania joined with Hitler. How did this change things for the Jews? Can you tell us?
You see, I don't know other Jews. I know what happened to us. We were evacuated.
Do you remember the order telling you to get out?
The what?
Do you remember the order coming for the Jews to get out?
No, you see, my parents tried to. So at night, we went out. We were evacuated. No Jewish people were left.
What did you take with you when you were
No,
evacuated?
they did it when I was asleep. I didn't take anything. I don't remember. They tried to protect me. So they did it at night when I was asleep.
Do you remember leaving?
I don't know.
Okay. Where did you go when you were
To
evacuated?
USC. Because my mother is from USC. And her family was in USC too.
So your whole family went? Mother, father, brother, and you?
That was me, my brother, my mother, for the four of us.
How did things change for your family? Now you've been evacuated. How did your life change? What was happening to you now?
Well, once we got to USC, how long could you stay by? We had to look for an apartment.
How did you
So
get?
we kept on moving.
How did you get to Yasi?
Well, I never went by bus because I used to get sick. So there's horse and buggy.
And you had to find an apartment. Where did you find? What kind of apartment did you find?
Oh, I remember we had one apartment going up the steps. This is what I remember. And then when the Holocaust was, right across lived a lady. She belonged to the Nazi party. But maybe because part of her job was she had to belong, I don't know. Because she said to my father not to go out on that Sunday. If you remember, there was a Holocaust in Yesi.
Was it a pogrom or something?
A pogrom. They took, see, lots of men. No, they said the men should come to the police station. They're gonna get, I don't remember it. So the men went, and we looked through the window. I saw the woman going to the hall, and the men to the police station. Once the police, they started shooting at them. And who didn't shoot, they put them in a cargo train, and they suffocated. A lot of them. It's hard to talk about those things.
Was your father with these men? Or he didn't go?
No, because the neighbor,
She
even
wanted
though
him.
she belonged to she said not to go out.
So did your father just hide at home or?
Stayed indoor.
Okay. What else do you remember about that period of time? Are you okay?
Yeah. I don't know how much I remember. that was, maybe they tell you somewhere, the pogrom in USC, how many men they killed. Because they said, come to the police station. So they went to the police station to get whatever they were promised. Once they got there, they put them against the gate. Not gate,
A wall?
something that divides from your neighbor, how you call it, from what?
Oh, a fence.
A fence. They put them at the fence. And they start shooting. Who didn't they shoot? Later on, they put them in a, yeah, I forget. They put them in a cargo train. And they suffocated till they got.
Do you know where the
There
train...
must be somewhere. I know there is in Yazzie. I don't know about that day, Holocaust.
Do you know where that train went? I know you said some of the men in the train suffocated, but do you know where the train was supposed to be going?
I don't remember.
Okay.
And then probably in Yazzie, the museum, they explain everything.
What do you remember about the time when Germany attacked Russia? And Romania was involved with that. Germany and Romania together attacked Russia. What
We
do you
were
remember?
far from Russia. Yazzie is not far.
So do you remember anything of that time? What happened? Did you see soldiers go by?
Did they what?
See any soldiers going by? Any tanks?
Oh, yeah.
Anything?
But I remember more the Russian when they came. Because I remember the girls that were in the army, the Russian. They used to buy everything they had no clothes. They wanted to get dressed. They made a market. They put in the floor and the Russian used to buy. They started getting dressed.
Was that later though?
Well, once they occupied our city.
Okay. Were you at all aware of how Jews were being treated in other places?
What?
How did you know during the war? Did you know how the Jews were being treated in other places, like in Bucharest? Did you hear anything
No,
about?
because my parents, they tried to protect me, you know. How old was I?
You were about 10 when this happened, so, okay. You mentioned the pogrom in Yazzie. Who were the perpetrators? Who rounded up the Jews? Was it the Germans? Was it the local people?
I don't know. It was during the war. I think the Nazis tried to get to Russia. We were far from Russia.
What was happening to you during the days, during this period when you were in Yazzie? What did you do during the day?
I stayed by some people because my mother was, they took my father away. My mother tried to make some business. So let's say she had a bag with flowers. She put it underneath the dress. She sold it in somebody's house that can afford to buy it. Black market. You put it underneath the dress. Can't forget that.
So she was in the black market with selling flour?
She had to support the...
You mentioned your father was taken away. When?
During the war. But I cannot tell you what year or what.
Do you remember when they took him away? How it happened? Did they come to the house? Did they take him off the street? What happened to him?
I remember I cried. I miss my father a lot.
Was he taken away in Yassi?
To a working camp.
Did you have any idea what was happening to Jews in other places in Europe?
Now, how old was I? What year was the Nazi?
Well, this was already, you were approximately 10 years old, but that's okay. Did you yourself see any violence? Did you see any violence? Did you see any shooting? Did you see any beatings?
I don't remember. I just remember my grandfather. He went to the center of the city, Yassi. He didn't hear too good. He came back, came to tell us the Russians are already in the center of the city. And he went home, he put on the talents, and he got hurt during the prayers.
How did he get hurt? Was he shot?
From the piece from the bomb. It was my father's father.
You mentioned your father was sent to a work camp. Do you know, was he deported out of Romania or was it a work camp in Romania? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know of any Jews that were sent out of the country?
No. Where should they send them?
Well, do you know anything about what was happening to the Jews in Poland, for example?
No. I know what happened to us.
You mentioned your grandfather got hurt when he was praying. Did it kill him or did he survive?
Like I said, he came home from the center of the city, Yassi, and he told us the Russians are there. He went home and he made the talus. And during the prayer, he got hit.
Did it kill him or did he survive?
I don't remember. Maybe he was in the hospital, but how old was I? I don't remember.
So as the war as the war continued and the Russians started to get the upper hand, how did that change your life when the Russians now had the power, not the Germans?
Well, first we got friends. We started going to the center of the city. I was a teenager. How old was I? And then I belonged for Israel. I went to Israel.
Okay,
I
that
went to
comes later.
Cyprus.
We'll get to Cyprus and Israel in just a minute. What else can you tell us about your memories from the war years?
From the what?
From the war years, from the Holocaust, from the Shoah. What else do you remember?
Well, we kept on moving, because the rent and all that. I had to go down the stairs and then see in the street the house was even, but in the back you had a few stairs and you could go down. That was our we were hiding, how you call it. When the bomb came. Oh yeah.
I keep playing with your
I
microphone.
keep on forgetting.
Yes, that's okay. Did your father come home from the war camp? Did he survive?
Yeah.
When did he come back?
I don't remember. But my parents lived in Israel.
Okay, we're not in Israel yet.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll get to Israel in a minute. When your father came back, what did he say about the camp that he was in?
I don't remember. I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. Was there any battles or any fighting near you? Were there? You never saw any battles. You never saw any fighting.
No.
Okay. So your father survived, and your mother also survived. What about other members of your family? Who in your family survived?
Oh yeah, I keep on forgetting. Well, I had a cousin. In USC there was a Holocaust. That they said to the guys, come to the police.
Yes, you told us.
So one of my cousins, good looking, like the Kennedys, black hair. He was one of them that went with the train, and
So he did not survive.
young guy, 24 something.
Do you remember his name?
Leib. My son Lenny is named after him. Good looking guy.
Anybody else in your family that survived or didn't survive? You mentioned a grandfather. What about grandparents?
Well, I don't know too good my mother's family, because she comes from Yazi. But I know my father's family because we come from a small town, Jewish town.
Did anybody survive from your family, or do you know who did not survive?
Well, that's my cousin. He was in Yazi, the pogrom. Right now, I don't remember.
Okay.
My mind does not.
Did the Russians come to your area?
I remember the girls because they used to buy in the market, but all of a sudden in the market, people were staying with clothes and selling in the Russians because they were coming back from Germany.
How did the Russians treat the community where you were? Was there any friction? Was there any problem?
Well, maybe if I would be older, I would remember. But, like men, guys, They probably were after the girls, but how old was I?
Is there anything else you want to add about the war years?
About the what?
The war years. Is there anything that you didn't tell us that you want to add? Okay. So the war is over. Your mother and father survived, and your brother also survived?
My who?
Your brother.
My daughter?
Your brother.
Ah, my brother, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't.
That's okay. How long did you stay in Romania after the war?
I don't remember how long, but we went to Israel. But before we went to Israel, they took us to Cyprus.
Who's they?
The English were in Israel. They were still in Israel. So we came with a boat. Maybe you're gonna it's in history. It was tremendous. Lots of people. So they took us to Cyprus.
Who's the they? Who arranged your trip to Palestine?
Well, I belong to a group. I belong to not religious, for Israel. But you had different kind of, some are very religious, some not, some are that, but they all for Israel. So, going to Israel, the English got us. They took us to Cyprus.
Okay, the English stopped your ship and took you to Cyprus. Do you know who arranged for your ship to go to Palestine? Do you know who was doing? Was it?
Well, to Palestine, me and another girl got to Israel, Passover, and I was starving that day. Because whoever they could get out, I came to Israel with a fishing boat.
You did.
Yeah. Whoever they could get out from Cyprus. So me and another girl got to Israel, Passover. In the evening was Passover. I was starving. I was so hungry. Me and another girl got to Tel Aviv with a fishing boat or something. From Tel Aviv, we went to Netanya.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for a minute. I need to know, first of all, you were in Yassi. Where did you get to the ship to go to Palestine? Where did you get on the ship?
Costanza.
Thank you. Okay, so you boarded the ship in Costanza.
But
and
do you know what kind of ship it was? A platform. It's not that you go in and out of what. There were lots and lots of people. They were Pan York and Pan York. And the other one, I don't remember, forgot. 2 ships.
And then the British stopped you and took you to Cyprus?
Yeah.
How long were you in Cyprus?
I didn't think too long.
And where were you put on Cyprus? Were you put in a camp?
I kept on moving on Cyprus. You know, they gave us where you sleep, that folding bed. How you call it? In the army?
Like a cot?
Yeah. So I used to put my knapsack on top of it. And me one side, and another girl the other side, and moved to another tent. We slept in a tent. Kept on moving. How old was I?
Where were your parents?
I know. I came from Akshara. I didn't come with my parents.
You came from the Hachshara?
Yeah.
What's the Hachshara?
What's the name of the Akshara?
No, what is it?
They train you for Israel.
Okay, so it was a training facility to prepare you.
Yeah.
Okay.
after the war, I belonged to, not, you had a choice. Or very religious, you'd make a choice.
So you went by yourself?
Yeah.
With a youth group or something?
I don't remember if my brother came with me or not.
Okay. But your parents were not with you?
No, they didn't come with me to Israel.
Okay. And from Cyprus, how did you get out of Cyprus? You said something about a fishing boat.
Yeah. Me and another girl. Like I said, it was what was best of it. And I was so hungry. I got to Tel Aviv. There was somebody waiting for us. Send us to Netanya.
And where did you stay in Netanya?
That was a Beit Olim for every
For new
newcomer
immigrants.
to Israel. It's not like here, you don't know where to go. Everything is arranged.
So there
You
was
don't sleep in the street.
What were your expectations of Palestine or Israel? What did you expect to find there?
I was very happy to live in Europe. After what I went through, I go to Israel.
And what were your first impressions of Israel?
It was Passover in the evening. We were in Netanya. Beautiful.
Did somebody
I
give
made
you...
myself a few friends. I have a picture in Netanya. We're sitting, it was something like that, high, and then is the ocean. Netanya is the ocean.
When you landed...
You know, how can I explain that? The feeling you have when you're out from Europe to your own.
Tell us more. What was that feeling?
First of all, is the age, and then just to get out from Europe and going to your own. We had a farm. My husband was in the Navy. I was in the Air Force.
Oh, we'll get to your military service in just a minute. Yeah, you keep running ahead of me. So you went to Netanya and you stayed in you said Bet Cholim?
Beit Olim.
Bet Olim, okay. For the new immigrants they had, okay. And how long did you stay there?
I don't remember, because I also was in Petach Tikva, but I don't remember.
When did you learn Hebrew?
When what?
When did you learn Hebrew? In
Israel.
When did you join the army or the Air Force?
Let's see, when did I was in the Air Force. My husband was in the Navy. But when I met him, he was in charge of a building. There were a lot of couples lived in that building from the Navy. I was in Haifa. First I was in the Carmel. I was a cashier.
You were what?
Cashier. Shechem. You know for Shechem? Where the soldier buy. Shechem. I was in Haifa. No, I was in Tel Aviv. But I don't like Tel Aviv. And in Tel Aviv, I had a room in a hotel. I had where to eat. I had a good job as a cashier. But I don't like Tel Aviv. So I got a transfer to Haifa. And in Haifa, I was in that school from, not Navy, from the Air Force. That was a school in Haifa from the Air Force. And I learned I got a switchboard. I worked switchboard. First I was a cashier, switchboard. That's what I remember.
How did you meet your husband?
What?
How did you meet your husband?
We had from the Air Force with, young soldiers make a party and all that. So he brings him. And I said, I'm not getting married till my parents come. So my husband went, when my parents came with the ship, he met my parents before I met them. He went to the ship already to ask for a shidduch.
For a match.
He went through a lot.
I was going to say, was he also a survivor, a Holocaust survivor?
He's from Germany. So his whole family.
How did he?
They went to Belgium. And they went looking for the little sister, Betty. And they got him. They never found Betty.
What happened to your husband? Was he in
To the what?
What happened to your husband? Was he in any concentration camps?
Yeah. He had a number. If you see pictures, album, you see a number. His whole family went. His sister was in the United States, but she went before the war started.
How long did you serve in the Air Force?
Till I got married. We got married in the 50, 51, 50. Because once you get married, you're discharged.
Was your husband still in the Navy after you got married?
Not too long. But then he joined because they needed officers, at night time to watch.
When you got to Palestine, Israel, what did people ask you about the Shoah? What did they ask you about the Holocaust and your experience? Nobody asked you?
Not that I remember.
How long did you stay in Israel?
How long did I don't remember. But Razi was born here.
Were any of your children born in Israel?
David.
David was born in Israel?
Hedera. And when they did bring him to me the first time, I saw a spot. And then they said they took him to Haifa, to a hospital in Haifa. I went home without a baby. The crib was there. He was in, you know what it is? You see the crib empty, and the baby's in Haifa. In the meantime, it's what Yom Kippur, the holidays. So I remember once my husband said, this time I go to Haifa, I'm coming back with the baby.
So how long did you stay in Israel? Approximately. Where did you go next? To the United States?
Well, I came with my husband, David. We were three of us. We came to United States because Lenny was born in the United States and Raz was born.
When did you come to the United States?
I don't know why. 1950? I don't know.
Why did you come to the United States?
Well, I came with my husband
Why?
because he couldn't get a job. It was a very hard time in Israel. And his sister, she came to the United States before the war. So she sent the affidavit to come to United States.
So you went from Israel straight to the United States, or did you go somewhere else first?
I don't know, maybe because he had a brother in England. So maybe we stopped in England, but the first was to get to United States. But we saw his brother. His brother escaped the war. He was in England. They also sent him somewhere near even though he was a Jew, but he was from Germany, so they sent him during the war from England. What country is it? The frontier near I forgot the name.
It's okay, don't worry. What work did you do in the United States?
Well, I got a job the second day that I came. I was coughing. I started with a cough, and I got a job with decorate with stones, with glue.
What did you decorate?
My sister-in-law, she found a job for me.
What were you decorating with stones?
Everything.
Okay.
I like for cigarettes, a box of cigarettes, things like that. You decorate. You put glue and you put some.
When you came to the United States, how were you treated by the Americans?
How what?
How were you treated by the Americans when you came here?
I don't know. Very nice.
Did you experience any anti-Semitism in the United States?
I know I got a job the second day, and I was coughing, and the glue, the smell from the glue didn't help much. But I got a job.
Okay.
I left David, my son. I left by my sister-in-law, and I learned to take the train, the subway, to go to 34th Street or something like that.
I wanted to ask you, since you lived in Israel, how you reacted to what happened October 7th in Israel.
I don't know about it. What's October 7?
When Hamas attacked Israel. What's been going on?
Israel will get in bed. They'll forget the name already. That's the way we believe. Israel will take care of them. Israel always take care of them.
Is there anything more you want to talk about? Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to share before we finish? Anything that we forgot so far that you can remember at this point?
I can say we had fun. We had a wedding. I said,
where?
I said to my husband, I wait till my parents come because I want they should be at the wedding.
In Israel?
In Israel. So we had a nice wedding.
What message do you have for the people who will watch this in the future?
Be strong. And whatever it is, get back to your feet. We should overcome.
You said something to me earlier about if you don't know who you are. Can you elaborate on that?
You have to know where you are, who you are. If not, they tell you who you are.
Who's the they?
The one that are like you. Not gonna make big. The one that doesn't like me. Pulled me out from my house. How old was I? Kindergarten? Evacuated.
Thank you for speaking with us today.
Yeah, and thank God I have nice kids, nice family. I had a nice husband. I don't know if you saw any picture.
We'll do the pictures in a minute.
You saw it?
We'll do the pictures in a minute.
Oh.
Okay. Esther, can you please introduce your family to us?
Yes, my pleasure. That's my son, David. That we arrived to the United States together. And now?
You can introduce your sister.
And my sister's right next to me, Roz, right here. And my brother's in San Francisco. Thanks to my mother. She's blessed us with wonderful traditions and wonderful guidance. And without her guidance, I wouldn't be the man I am today. And I wouldn't have the family that I have today. I am truly blessed to have my mother and had my father. And there's nothing more that I could say that a son that's been blessed all his life to have such a wonderful woman and a strong woman and a determined woman, and to always make sure that I knew that I had Jewish heritage and be proud of that Jewish heritage. And as you could see, I wear my star on the outside. I don't let anybody tell me where to put my star. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Esther, who are these people?
Well, I never got to meet my grandma, but I met my grandfather. And it's very sad. We were in the, how you call it, where you hide when the bomb comes down, in a shelter. He went to the center of Yassi. He came back from the center. He said, the Russians are there already. He went home to pray, put on the talus. He got hit in his back.
Do you remember your grandparents' names?
Mordechai. No, Mordechai was my father. No, I don't remember. Eliezer. Maybe Eliezer.
And what was her name?
I never met my grandma.
Okay.
He remarried when I met.
And do you know his last name?
Abramovich was my father's name.
And this is your father's father?
Yeah.
Do you know when or where the picture was taken?
No.
Okay.
Because I never got to meet her.
Okay. Thank you.
One.
Who are these people?
That's my parents when they got married.
Their names?
Betty and Leon.
Last name?
Abramovich.
Do you know when the picture was taken or where?
No, but I know that bouquet of flower was my toy.
Later on?
Saturday, when the store was closed, I got to play with the flowers.
Any idea what country this was taken in?
Romanian.
Okay.
They all come from Romania.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell us about this picture, please?
Yeah. My mother comes from a big city, USC. That picture was taken in USC by a very famous photographer. But in Europe, that time, they had a store outside, not outside, I mean in the store. And you go take pictures. And the photographer was related to us. Photo select in USC.
And can you give me the names of the people in the picture?
My mother and me,
And your names, please?
Esther and Betty.
Last name?
Abramovich.
And
Betty was my mother. Esther was...
it's you. And do you have any idea what year?
Well, how old do I look? 5?
Maybe 4
How
or
long
5. Maybe 4 or 5. Okay, and in Romania.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
before the war.
Who is this person?
My brother,
And what's his name?
David
Last name?
Abramovich.
Cut.
Who is this person?
My brother,
And his name?
David
Last name?
Abramovich.
And do you know when it was taken or where?
Well, that must have been in Israel. No, not in Europe. That's in Israel.
Do you know when it was taken?
No,
Okay.
when...
After the war in Israel. Fine. Thank you. What are we looking at in this picture?
You're looking at our house in Romanian, but there's a lot of change in the house. Where the windows are, that was doors. We had like 6 doors, because they had to come in with a barrel of paint, a barrel of, I call it, what gives you light?
Kerosene.
Yeah, it was barrels, so you couldn't bring it in through the window. Then there was no windows, it was doors. We had 6 doors.
And what town in Romania?
Răducăneni.
And do you know when this picture was taken?
No,
It was taken after
it's after
the war.
the war.
Okay.
See
after
the
World War II.
changes.
Thank you.
One.
Please tell us about this picture.
That's our wedding picture. That's Susie and Ester.
Last name?
Rosenduft.
And when was it taken?
By the wedding. In Haifa, by the wedding.
And do you remember when?
1950.
1950 in Haifa. Okay. And is there anything else? Is he in uniform?
He was from Germany. He escaped. He had a number. They ran away to Belgium, But they took them from Belgium because they didn't go to hide. They were looking for the little sister. The little sister disappeared. So they got them to camp.
It looks like your husband is in a uniform. What?
That's the Navy in Israel. He was in the Navy, I was in the Air Force.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell us about
Yeah.
this?
This
No fingers.
this a few days before the wedding or after the wedding, I don't know. And the one with the white jacket, it's Arya Moscovich, very famous. He made for Abima the course. Did you hear about Abima? A painter, Arya Moscovich. He introduced me to my husband. And we had snow a few days.
In
It's
Israel.
hard to believe. In Haifa, snow.
Okay, and do you know any of the other people in this picture?
Well, they all from the Navy, where my husband was. My husband was in charge of a building. There were couples living there.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about this?
I was in the Air Force. He was in the Navy.
Are you in this picture?
That's me.
That's okay.
He's hugging his wife.
And your name, please? Your name, please?
Esther and Uzi. We call them Uzi in Israel. In Germany, they call them Kuno. But in Israel, they call them Uzi.
And your last name, please?
Rosenduft.
Thank you.
And
And this picture.
this is not far from George Washington Bridge in Manhattan. This is when we got to United States.
And who are these people?
Me and Uzi.
And
Esther and Uzi.
last name?
Rosenduft.
And do you know what year approximately?
What time did we get to United States?
Was it, I think you said around
Does David
1950.
remember?
I think you told me earlier 1950.
And if
Okay, that's New York in the United States. Okay, thank you. Who are all of these people?
that's my dear family. By Adam's bar mitzvah.
Who's Adam?
My grandson in California. That picture is taken in California.
And do you know when?
Here, I don't know. I remember the bar mitzvah.
That's okay. So, and can you give me your last name, please?
My last name is the Rosenduft.
Okay, so this is the Rosenduft family.
Right.
Family bar mitzvah.
Yeah,
In California.
right.
Okay. Thank you very much, and this now concludes the interview today.